We're ready?
Give me a countdown.
Okay. Da 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 ti da 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 ti da 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 ti ah.
A tabla countdown. I like it.
Well, you know.
Welcome to an episode of Absolute Focus.
Yes, first one.
Yeah, first episode. Let's go around the room. Our sound engineer, Jackson.
Oi, Jackson.
What's going on, Jackson? Listen, if this doesn't sound right, you're fired. My lovely wife, Kamaljit.
Hello.
And then I'm Jazz.
Also, my lovely husband.
Today's episode is brought to you by Barack Obama.
What?
Listen, he's one of our sponsors. He's our first sponsor, Barack Hussein Obama.
What?
Like we go way back. Like before we were married, I was invited to the White House, and then there was like this little mahfil in the Lincoln bedroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. This is all true, except for the parts that I'm making up. It's all true. And Barack was like, "You should play something," and I was like, "All right, I'll play a little karba." And then he's like, "No, I want to hear Panch Dal Di Sawari."
What?
I'm serious. I was like,
You're
"How do you
totally
even-"
making this up.
I was like, "How do you know about Panch Dal Di Sawari?" I was like, "Listen, there's like senators here. There's like, they're not Suran Wale Lok, you know what I mean? They're just like Aam Bande." And so he's like, no, man. It's my mood to hear that. I was like, I need a ladder player. And I swear to God, in walks in Ramesh Da. This is in 2009.
Okay. What?
And yeah, this is all true. And
It can't be true.
it's true.
It's not true.
This is true. I'm telling you, we're friends. Like me and Barry go way back.
Barry.
Yeah. And in walks Ramesh Da. I was like, Ramesh Da, like, how'd you get here? How'd you even... And then he was like, I'm sitting in my apartment in New York, and like 2 Secret Service agents with like sunglasses and like the
What are
thing
you
in their
talking
walkie-talkie
about,
on their
man?
wrist, like come in and they just take me. And then in the car right over, they're like, Barack Obama is gonna want you to play Nagma. And I'm like, what?
What are you talking about, man? This cannot be true. You never told me.
This is 100% fact.
It's not facts. Is it fact?
Yeah, it's fact. And like, so Barry's like, I want you to play Panch Dal Di Sawari. And I go, all right. So then Ramesh Mishra obviously keeps the badass Nagma.
Obviously, yeah, but I still don't believe this story.
And I play it. And then since then we've been tight. And then this is the part like...
Did you not invite him to the wedding? Because I've never met him.
Yeah, he was busy. He's the president. Come on. So like, this is the craziest part of this story is that like the Secretary of Defense walks in and he's like, Mr. President, the operation's ready. We're ready to go. And then like, I was playing this sick ass gada, and he goes, "No, man, I'm listening to this. Let's just do it tomorrow. Let's just do it tomorrow."
What are you talking about?
And then yeah, so then the next day, like when it's like tomorrow, whatever, he goes, I turn on the news, and then they're like, "Oh, Osama bin Laden's just been killed." Like they were going to do that mission that night, the night of my mahfil.
Will you just stop jesting, please?
Like listen, I'm an Indian classical musician. Like we kind of exaggerate stories. Like everybody knows this about us, right? You just got to find the truth.
Where was the truth in that story then?
It's all true.
Really? Where was the little...
From an Indian classical perspective, it's all true.
I don't think so.
Well, believe what you want, but it happened. And anyways, we're
right.
very honored that he's a sponsor of our show.
All right, mate.
Thank you, Barack Obama. We miss you.
Cheers, Barack.
So yeah, nobody knows who we are. Like they're listening to this show, and they're like, "Who's Jazz and Kamaljit?"
We're a couple of jokers, really.
So they should, I guess, to know like what we're all about. They should sort of know how we met, and because that is like everything that we've done or will do sort of stems from this serendipitous story. Am I right?
Pretty much.
So the way we met was like we're at a club in Vegas.
What? Will you stop it?
Everybody knows I love clubbing.
Yeah, man, you've got so much game, spitting game.
Yeah. And I walk up to her and I go, "Are you a parking ticket? Because you got fine written all over you."
Jesus Christ. That is quite the line. That would have been memorable if I heard that.
Well, see, I guess you want to hear the real story?
Yeah, okay then.
All right. Yeah, I've never been to a club. I don't know what goes on in those things. I've done gigs at clubs and I still don't get it. But yeah, the way we met, it's quite the tale. So let's start at the beginning, I guess. Let's go back to 2000.
We're not going to do Quentin Tarantino style. We're just going to do...
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they know the ending. We're married and we have kids.
Well, they didn't know about the kids part.
Okay. Anyways, 2007. The social network MySpace is prevalent. And why don't you start? You send a message to...
Yeah, let me start. So MySpace, I just made a page. Thought it was all cool. Oh, look at me putting all my clips up. Put few up, put Sohini, put all my favorite things that I've done or pretending to do, thinking I'm really like cool. I was just tootling around, seeing who was on MySpace, who pops up, Ustad Tariq Khan. I'm like, what? Why is Ustad Tariq Khan on MySpace with his own page? He's super cool. So I was like, well, I have to be his name, Punjabi in the house. I have to be his friend. So I sent him a message saying, oh, Ustadji, I really love you. I really love your playing. Can I be your friend? Something really rubbish like that. Because obviously you don't know what to say to him.
So what I remember exactly what the message is. I think you're forgetting because it was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So the reason I remember the message is because Ustadji's website and all his social media accounts at the time went to me. I was in control of those. And I get this message and it says, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm seeking your blessings. That's what you said.
Okay, yeah. That's probably why.
So this message comes to me, and then whenever Ustadji is visiting California, I kind of gather them all up and I print them out, or I bring him into my room and at the computer, and I just start going through stuff with him.
Secretary jobs.
Emails, whatever it is. Like sometimes there's contract stuff to go through. Sometimes there's like visa stuff to sort out when he's like traveling to other countries. So this particular case, so I'm just flying past, like, because these are just MySpace friend requests, and so I'm just flying past them, and like there's messages from other people as well, like other fans, people that want to learn from him, all kinds of stuff, and I'm just flying through these because
they take time.
Yeah, they take time, and they're not really. I mean, I don't mean to say this, but they're not that important compared to like we're trying to arrange you to come to like Norway for this festival, and here are the visa things you need to fill out, and here's like the permits and all that. So I'm flying past these other people that are fans and just fan mail, and when I click Kamalji, it's like her track of Rag Sohini starts playing, which happens to be one of the rags that Ustadji really likes.
Awesome.
And he looks at the picture, and then he looks at me, and he like slaps me across the back.
Punjabi style.
Punjabi, Thapda, I guess it would be called.
That's quite.
And he goes, this should be your wife, Jaswinder. What are you doing? Right? And we're upstairs. This is at my dad's house. We're upstairs in a bedroom, and he just starts screaming for my dad, Paji, Paji. Like, I found the perfect wife for Jaswinder. And we're like, what? And then he's like, yeah, Jaswinder, you need to marry this woman.
Sounds like he got super excited.
He was super excited. Like, and then they start, messing with me just because my dad and Ustadji are super humorous. And so Ustadji starts going, you need to write to her that like Jaswinder is a great student of mine, and I trust him with everything, and we should really meet. And I was like, I'm not writing any of that. And then he just keeps going further and further. Just tell her like we should meet, and I'll introduce you both together. And I'm like, I'm not writing any of that. And then after the jokes were all over, they go, okay, just tell her like thank you for the email, and she has my blessings.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so that message came from me through him.
Thanks, Jacinda. It meant a lot to me. So,
anyways, Kamaljit's in the music scene, like so. I play tabla, she plays the santoor. Like, we...
Names do come up.
Our names are coming up to each other. I'm in California, she's in Leeds. in the UK. And let's fast forward the story a bit. Let's jump to 2010. So that was 2007, and there was this sort of blessing that came up that Rastaji says you two have to be married to each
Which
other,
we never even
which
took
I
any
thought at the
account
time was
to.
a joke. Let's fast forward to 2010.
Okay, so the 2010 was my mum Maji's wedding, and he's called Ustad Taranveer Singh. He's a disciple of Pandit, Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab. And yeah, he's a star player, but he taught me santoor. But he also taught a lot of other people tabla, santoor, sitar. He's like a really, really awesome educator in Leeds. So
Yeah.
anyway, it was his wedding, and I was like, you're my close family. Can I play at my cousin's wedding? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I was playing at the reception, and his family from San Jose had come, who apparently were best friends with your family.
Yeah, they're close family friends of ours. I've known them. It's Beena Auntie and Amrit
Yeah.
Uncle. I've known them since I was a child.
So I'm playing at the reception, and unbeknown to me, Jaswinder's dad's getting phone calls from the reception.
Right. So my father gets a phone call while Kamaljeet is performing.
Literally, she
At
told
the
us.
reception.
Went out of the reception hall while I was playing Kamaj and called your dad.
And my dad, she calls my dad and she goes, "We found the perfect girl for Jaswinder." And my dad goes, "Yeah, I don't know. Like anytime I bring this topic up with Jaswinder, he gets a little emotional, a little bit hot tempered." Right. And then she's like, yeah, but she's the perfect girl for him. So why don't you like call him and then call me back immediately and I'll talk to the family. And then so my dad calls me and he goes, Jaswinder, there's this girl that Beena Auntie's telling me about. She plays santoor. They're saying she'd be a good fit for you, a good match for you. And I immediately go, is her name Kamaljeet? And he's like, yeah, how'd you know? I was like, because, I know who the musicians are in the world. And yeah, I already know her. I was like, so this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard of in my life. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go take her out to coffee? Like, I'm just supposed to catch a flight, take her out to coffee, and then come back? Like, what am I supposed to do? And just like my father had said, that I get a little hot tempered. By the way, you should not be hot tempered with your parents. That's very disrespectful. I'm a very bad Indian kid.
I think we all are, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not good.
You only find that out when you have kids.
Yeah, they're trying to look out for you, but at the time, I was like, "This is a horrible idea."
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do? So I think what happens is, she calls again, like an hour or so later, still at the reception, and my dad's like, "Yeah, I talked to him. I don't know, but." Yeah, go ahead and talk to the family. So he kind of just went around whatever I had said.
Okay, so then yeah, Beena Auntie told Mamaji about you. And so he calls my dad, and this is the next day, I think.
Yeah.
Or the day, well, this wedding stuff was still going on, so I think it's a day or two later. So he calls my dad after everything's finished and goes, oh, there's a boy in California. And I'm like, what does he do? He's a tabla player. And I'm like, is he, what's his name? Is he called Jaswinder? Like, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, oh, well, I kind of know him because I met him on MySpace, but, he's in California. How would that even work? And I don't want to get married, thank you. Please don't call again. So anyway, my mom and dad didn't push it too much because I was engaged to get married the year before. So they were like all on tiptoes, even like talking to me. So I was like, no, I'm kindly declined. Thank you. Goodbye.
So that's what's going on her side. On my side, I'm getting some heat. They're like, you need to talk to this girl. And I go, why? Like, she's in England. And like, I've already talked to her like about music, like, over the past couple of years. Like, if something was going to happen, wouldn't have happened. And they're like, no, just talk to her. And then like, a few days would go by. They're like, did you talk to her yet? I'm like, no, like, what do I... She's in England. Like, I've already explained that this is a dumb idea. Right?
Yeah, it was at the time. I don't know why though.
So if you guys are keeping count, right? Like number 1 was Ustad Tariq Khan that said we should get married. Number 2 is like this Bina Deen
Auntie.
Amrit uncle, and like all these guys are saying that we should get married. So eventually I give in like reluctantly to my parents.
Yeah, your dad's pretty relentless. I found that out.
Yeah. And I go, look, I'm gonna mess, and I think they were in the room. I was like, look, I'm gonna message her right now, and then I send like a one line, like, hey, isn't it funny how people are trying to introduce us? We already knew each other. Ha ha. Send. And I was like, you see, I sent a message. Now get off my back. So Kamaljeet, and by the way, we're on Facebook right now because we moved over to 2010. Like like MySpace is dead. Okay, we're on Facebook right now in 2010. Right now. Facebook's the hot thing right now. And I send this message, and let me tell you guys something. You're gonna see this in this story. Is that like, you know how like in swingers, they say guys wait like an industry standard 2 days before you reply back to a message. Kamaljeet is like way beyond that, right? She waits an industry standard of like 13.6 days
Look,
before
man,
replying to a message.
I did not want to get married to you. Of course, I'm going to wait industry standard too long.
So I think she replies back with one line saying like, yeah, it is a coincidence. Ha ha. So
look, man, at least I answered your question. It wasn't too rude. What did
so,
you say?
You know, whenever I get that message, probably like, you know, after the time difference, it's the same day, I'll reply back. And I just started saying like, I'm like, well, you know, this is what I do.
You did your whole biodata.
Yeah, I did the whole biodata thing, but like a short version. Basically, like I'm a software engineer. I live in California. My parents do this. And it was all sort of like that reluctancy was still there. Like I still thought this was a dumb idea. But for some reason, I sent that message. And, you know, industry standard 13.6 days later, Kamaljeet sends her
an essay.
Yeah. So she sends me like a shield, like a defense mechanism.
Pretty much. That's a really nice way of putting it.
Yeah. Of why I shouldn't like approach her. And the way she does this is sort of passive aggressively. Like, number 1, she like just says that like I'm only a musician and that's all I want to do. And I think to previous people that like her parents had tried to
it's a perfect deterrent.
set her up with, that would just immediately make them go away. Awesome. They're like, "Unhe kam nahi karna," right?
That's just a hobby, right?
Yeah. So to me, I'm like, that's great. I love perfect. That. That's like, perfect. God. And then she's like, son of a bitch.
Pretty much.
She's like, my defense shields are weakening. And then she goes, you know, I was engaged previously. And then as if I would go like, oh, she's tainted. Oh, look. Jinx. She's tainted. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't care. So we start talking, right? Like,
then that didn't work. So you kept like,
yeah. So
I remember you emailed and you said, oh, you play music and you want to like tour the world and do music stuff. That's what I want to do. And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. Can this be getting any worse?
All right. So a few weeks go by, right? And a few weeks means that Kamaljeet and I have talked like 3 times because, you know, she doesn't reply. But for some reason, I'm still replying, and something just is compelling me to reply, right? Even though I'm like people cold. Are going like, dude, she doesn't even talk to you or whatever. Just leave it, move on. And yeah, there's no right now. Definitely at this stage, there's like no emotion. There's like nothing. We're just
hell no. We're still like my shield.
We're both like, this is a dumb idea. I don't know why we're even talking about it.
I'm just trying to be rude. Not rude, just polite.
So now let's go to number 3. This is a few weeks go by, but there's this another set of close family friends of ours, Bodhema uncle and Darshanati, and
who are also related to my mum's side of the family.
Yeah, they're related to Kamaljeet's parents.
But I've never met them, so I didn't know who they were.
And Bodhema uncle comes up to me and he goes, "There's this girl in Leeds, and she plays the sitar." And I go, how many damn musicians are in Leeds? Like, what?
There's actually a lot because of Mamaji. Because he taught a lot of students.
And so I go, listen, I'm already talking to this other girl, sort of semi-talking. I don't even know what, like nothing's happening, but we're just semi-talking. And I was like, I don't think it's fair if I start talking to another girl at the same time. And my uncle was pretty impressed with that answer.
That's pretty impressive.
Because I was like, you're just gonna start comparing and be like, lambi choti hai, gori hai, right? Like you're gonna start comparing the superficial.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, well, the uncle like goes home, and I think he calls me the next day, and he goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, she didn't play sitar, she plays santoor." And I go, "Is her name Kamaljit?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's the girl I'm talking to."
Yeah, I remember you sending me that, and I'm like, what is going on in the world?
Yeah.
I think that's when something changed, and I was like, maybe I should talk a little more frequently.
So that's number 3. Like, and these three people don't. I mean, they've all they since know each other and have met and all that stuff. But these are 3 events that they didn't know about each other.
No, they didn't know about each other.
And they all happened, And so when that third one happened, I think Kamaljit and I talked about it. We're still on Facebook Messenger at this point. That like this is kind of weird. Like 3, like I'm in California, she's in Leeds, and 3 random people are sort of saying we should be together.
Yeah.
And like something is telling us like.
Yeah, that's when it kind of changed.
So
But still,
slowly, like I'm messaging her, and like
you were relentless, man.
The 13.6 days is like dropping down to like 11.2, then like 9, and the conversations are getting a little bit more regular and a little bit longer, and eventually we upgrade to phone. All right, we start talking on the phone. Like I'm at work.
How many months is this? This isn't that long.
Yeah, this isn't that long. Well, it was August.
Yeah, it started
this is
August.
like, I would say November, December, we've gone to phone.
Yeah, probably end of November.
And I'm at work, right? And then to call Kamaljit like at 10 p.m. means I got to call her like at 2 or 3 here, which is when I'm at work. And so like my buddy Ray at work.
Ray held it down, man.
I'd be like, Ray, I got to go outside and like call this girl. So just cover for me. And he did. And so I would talk to her, and sometimes it'd be 5 minutes, and sometimes it'd be like an hour. And we just talk about our days and whatever casual stuff. I think we're starting to get to know each other and like sort of build a friendship. But I wouldn't say we're emotionally
not
connected in any way.
Because I was still like, I don't know. I got burnt once.
Yeah. And the heat is on from both our parents. They're just like, can you guys get married? Like, just get married.
Well, my mom and dad were still like standoffish because it's kind of, when your heart breaks, you don't really want to, go through that crap again.
Yeah. So January rolls around and it's decided that we should actually
I don't know how this was decided. How did I agree to this?
I think I was getting so much heat. And I was like, I'm just wasting hours like on the phone. Like we need to, progress or like move on.
Yeah.
So I think I have proposed that we should meet.
Yeah, you did, because I would have never brought that up. But I don't know how I agreed.
So January rolls around and I fly over.
No, it was February.
No, it was January. And
okay.
I fly over to Leeds and
he happens to have a cold.
I land, and yeah, like the next day I wake up with a cold. So when you're like you're already jet lagged, you feel miserable, like you're coughing, you're sneezing, you got a sore throat.
Yeah,
like,
you looked very bad.
But I gotta go through with this. So I like load up on every like Robitussin.
No way.
Sudafed.
You didn't land in Leeds though, did you?
I landed in London, but I got to Leeds. But
you should tell him about Bob. I know what he's told you before
Oh
you
yeah, I landed in
came, because
London.
that
I
was an
spent a
awesome
night in
story.
London at a friend's house, and I was. It kind of hit me when I got to their house. I was like, I don't
What
know
are
what
you
the
mind
hell I'm
doing?
doing here. Um, and he goes, listen, you go there, and if you need me to extract you out, I will. I'll come and rescue you. And
That's so
I
sweet.
was like, I may need that. And you know what? The day before I flew out, so yeah, I like when we booked these tickets and like we talked about meeting, I was like, this is a great idea. And then the day before I fly, Ginger Shunker's at my house
Yeah, man, your friends turn up, and
with Prasanna,
Prasanna, who
who's a
I didn't know,
who's
was
a common
actually,
friend.
yeah, common friend. It was awesome.
Yeah,
That's actually a number 4, technically.
yeah, technically. Um, and my chachaji's also there, and all these guys are sort of like really making
Getting
fun
on
of
your
me,
back.
and I kind of have a bit of a panic attack. I was like, yeah, this like it kind of hits me like, yeah, this is a dumb idea. Like I'm going back to that now. So then, yeah, I obviously the flight is the next day. I go to Bob's house. He tells me he'll extract me, whatever. I take the train to Leeds. All right. Kamaljeet says like she's gonna pick me up. But get this, she doesn't pick me up. She texts me. She's like, oh, like I'm gonna be late. Like, can you just take a taxi to your hotel?
Actually, I said walk because it's like, actually, it was like 10 minutes from your
Yeah, well, I'm
hotel.
from America. We can't walk 10 minutes.
No, you can't. What's that about? God.
Like
You can like Uber.
we can drive.
You can get a taxi, but you can't walk 10 minutes.
No.
Wait a minute. You don't even have paths in America. Sorry, sidewalks. So you can't actually walk anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah.
anyways, I took a taxi. I took a taxi to the hotel. She meets me that night, and we have dinner at her. No, I think just at a restaurant, right?
I have no recollection of where we had dinner.
But I think the main part of this,
No, I think we went out.
yeah, the main part of this trip was that Kamalji wanted to introduce me to all her family and friends.
Pretty much. But the reason for that is the previous. Well, I didn't have any trust in my, what was it? Judgment. Because obviously I messed it up the last time. So I was like, everyone I know has to tell me if it's good or not. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? They had to like rank him.
So yeah, there was a lot of driving to people's houses, and
Plus, I was working
yeah, a lot of driving to people's houses, a lot of tea, right, a lot of chaju,
and questioning.
and yeah, I would get
Mostly my
grilled.
people. You didn't have too many people here, so I didn't
Yeah,
have to.
I would get grilled by everybody, like her friends.
Plus, didn't you have to play the solo at Mamaji's house? He's like, oh, play something for me.
Yeah. When we go
While you
to
were
her
sick.
mamaji's house, Dharanbirjit Singh said like, play a solo. So literally, like I'm playing a tabla solo
And the sneezing,
to earn the honor of my future wife. Like it was crazy. The stakes were never higher in a tabla solo.
Yeah, and you still went well that day.
Yeah. So there was a lot of driving.
Yeah.
And we're meeting all, like I met her Nannaji and Nanniji. I met her Masiji, or her Masi.
Yeah, my Masi, Masser.
Mussers. I met her school friends. I met her like cousins, and they were all just giving input and like just grilling me. We went to we drove to London one day and to meet her brother and her Bobby, and
we walked around London in the cold, and they were still grilling him.
Yeah, and like
but he was doing it nicely.
Yeah, I was
like
kind of scared. I was a little scared of her older brother, but he didn't say a word because he had his wife interrogate me, and so it was like she was gonna get answers that way.
She's pretty good at getting answers.
Yeah, she got answers out of me. And I guess behind the scenes, you're talking to them and getting their consultation.
Yeah, man, because I didn't trust myself.
So the whole trip, like we're meeting all these family and friends, and I was like
taking you to see places in England.
Yeah, so I got to introduce her to some of my family. So I think one of the days we got to go to Oxford, from Leeds to Oxford,
Yeah.
to introduce her to my grandmother's sister, who's somebody I respect very much, and I think is like one of the coolest aunties ever.
Yeah.
And and her husband, so then their uncle, like, who's one of the coolest uncles ever too. And I take her to the house, but we have a long drive.
Yeah, it's a couple of hours. Well, not a couple of hours, but 4.5 hours, I think that day it was, maybe 5.
Yeah, there's traffic and stuff. So we in the drives, we like
Yeah, we
in
listened to
this
a lot
drive,
of
we listen to a
music.
lot of music, and we're starting to connect. So like one of the questions I asked Kamaljeet, just like randomly, I was like, "What are some of the favorite like rags that you like?" And what was the answer you gave?
The first answer I gave was Rag Shivranjani, and you gave me the weirdest look.
Yeah, because I'm like, she's like classically trained from like Dharanveer Singh or Jadapal Singh, like Pandit Shiv
Pandit
Kumar
Shiv Kumar
Sharma,
Sharma.
right? And she throws out Shivranjani, and like we're Punjabi, so like everyone and their mom knows Shivranjani, right? Like it's in a lot of our folk music, it's in a lot of our kirtan, and like it's something that's always just been there. Like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but like to say that it's your favorite rock, I was like, what? It struck me, right?
Yes, then I put on this wicked ass recording
So she puts on
from the
this record,
80s.
yeah, from the 80s of
It's all
Pandit.
wobbly. It's like a scared little recording because it's just wobbly.
It's a recording of Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma and Ustad
Shafat,
Shafat
yeah,
Khan like
bless
playing
him. Vilambatin.
like a full blown like classical version of Mishra Shivranjani, like proper alap, like Vilambatin Tal, like and then they're going to be doing
Yeah, going
Lakari in
in
it.
depth in it,
They're
looking at
going
all the
really in depth.
sur.
It's not just like a 15-minute, sort of Tumri
Yeah.
type piece at the end of a
No,
concert.
man, it was full intense.
It was, and it blew my mind. Right?
It's a wicked recording, man.
Like, and it opened up new things for me that I hadn't sort of previously seen in Shivranjani. We should like, I
We
think
should
that
play that for
let's
them.
play that right now.
Okay, we'll play that.
Yeah, let's play that right now.
Play.
All right, and we're back.
So how was that recording? Wasn't it the best?
Yeah, we didn't get to play you the whole thing, but
It is giant.
it
It's
goes
a bit
on for
too
an
long.
hour.
Yeah, and our show is only an hour. So.
But you can see that it's different Shivranjani, at least for me,
Yeah,
like that it's different and it's treated very like classically and
classically and methodically, and every note has its own persona and how to get to it and how each note beautifies the next note. Oh my god, I just love it.
yeah, and it clicked for me that like this is why she loves Shivranjani, and now I love Shivranjani.
Oh, yay. So yeah, that was one of the big ones. We listened to so much music, and then yeah, there was Western stuff as well. We listened to MIA,
Yeah, we listened to a ton of stuff.
like a ton of stuff. Anything that was in my we had like CD. I had a CD player with my little CD booklet thingy with all the little sleeves.
Yeah.
Those ancient things.
So we got back, and I think that was one of the last days.
Yeah, it was towards the end.
I also take you to see Babaji. We get we don't get
back
to see him that
Birmingham.
much, but we do get his darshan. And then I think I have to go back to London, and then I fly home.
Did I drive you there? I can't remember.
I don't know how I got there. Yeah, I think you did because
I think I
close.
did,
We were
yeah.
close, yeah.
Yeah, because that would have been me.
So we go back home, and
Then it was just a bye.
yeah,
See ya.
I think we hugged.
I think it was a side hug, not like
Yeah.
a front hug.
I'm not sure either.
I think it was a side hug.
Because you got to still remember that this whole trip I was still sick, and
All snotty and coughing and
Yeah.
sneezing. It's not a pretty picture.
so we get home, and I call you back as soon as I get there.
Didn't you get like a grilling from him? What's happened? What happened? What happened? Show me pictures. Show me pictures.
Yeah, my parents were trying to grill me the whole trip. They were like sending me texts, so phone calls, emails. I just send like 2 words replies, be like, "Went to Oxford today." Send. That's it. And they weren't getting any details from me. Yeah, I kind of always wanted it that way. That like they weren't sort of in there to cause any issues or doubts or anything like that. Like let us handle this. And they were kind of on board with that. They were just a little impatient. Um. Anyways, I call you and then I go like, "How'd you feel about that?" And you're like,
Yeah,
it was
it's all
cool."
right.
And I was like, "Well, should we? You still want to keep
Do you still want to keep
talking?"
talking? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And so we're like, "Okay." So a couple more months go by. I think we still talk to each other on the phone,
Yeah, it was getting longer and longer on the phone, I
and
think.
like, our parents um are still starting to apply pressure,
Yeah,
and eventually it's decided that like
that we should
in the
go
spring that Kamaljit and her parents are gonna come,
in May.
yeah, in
It
May,
hasn't even been a year.
come in May to meet.
Your family, because if I,
The two families should meet.
yeah, because I was adamant that our family should meet. I was like,
Yeah,
if I'm gonna move all the way over here, I need to know that I'm not going into a weird household with, because I don't have any family here,
yeah,
apart from one chachaji in Fremont, but that's miles away, as I found out. So I was like, nope, I have to see the house, I have to see his family, I have to see his friends. Because how do I know? He could have like been put on the front. I don't know. So I'm sure you'd thought that when you got there, but it'd been decided that we're coming in May. Me, my mum, my dad all came for a week,
yeah.
or maybe like
And
10
I should
days. No,
clarify
it
that
was a
like
week. Yeah,
I only met Kamalji for 5 days in
yeah,
England. We only had 5 days together.
yeah.
It was,
Two flight days and 5 actual
yeah,
meeting days.
and it was about the same for your trip
Yeah, it
in the
was.
spring. Like yeah, you were here for a week, but like the day you land and the day you leave kind of
That
doesn't
don't
count.
count.
So it's like 5 full days. So they land. They're gonna be staying at Balde Uncle's house.
Your mum and dad wanted us to stay at your house.
Yeah,
That was so
my parents
freaky.
are like religious and all, and but we're kind of liberal too.
Yeah, you're really cool, guys. Pretty much.
uh, so
So they were like, "Come stay at our house. It's fine. It's fine."
yeah, and I don't think your parents were down with
And
that.
my mum and dad were like, "No. What if it all goes wrong? That would be so embarrassing."
Yeah. So they're
So
staying
yeah,
at
we
Balde Uncle's
stayed
house.
at Mama's
They
house.
land and I drive over. All right, and I realize like the heat is now intensified,
Intense.
like super intense. All right, you got my parents. All right, you got
My
her parents.
parents
You
and
got
Balde
Balde Uncle
Mamaji.
and Darshanati. Okay, there's like too much heat, and if like I want to go take her out somewhere, it's
20
it's gonna be like impossible to like arrange a plan. So I go to the drugstore. All right, this is like The Wire, right? Like I'm like Stringer Bell and like D'Angelo Barksdale, right? And like I pick up a
Get me
burner
a
phone.
burner. Get
I
me
pick up a
burner.
burner phone. I go like so they've landed, and I go to Uncle's house, and I just hand Kamaljit the burner phone, and I was like, "We'll talk over this."
And I was like, "What?"
So I think it was late at night. You guys were jet lagged or whatever.
Yeah,
I
we were
left pretty
knackered.
quickly. Like it was like probably
Hello.
I
Have
had a cup of
fun.
tea and that's about
Yeah.
it. And I barely spoke to anybody. Um, I text Kamaljit that night and I go, "We're gonna go hang out at Laguna Beach tomorrow." Now, so you gotta understand my play here, okay? She's coming from England. It's all like dark and gloomy and like gray.
It's not
It's
that
always
bad.
raining. There's like clouds or whatever, and like nasty gray dark
Look,
clouds.
man, it's my home. Stop saying that.
All right. Anyways, so I go, we're going to Laguna Beach. So I text her and I was like, just tell her your phone. So I drive to the house. I say like Sat Sri Akal or whatever, and then like I pick her up and then we go to Laguna Beach.
All day.
And yeah, like it's like at 11 a.m. and we just walk on the beach for hours.
For
I think it
hours.
must have been miles.
I think so.
And we're talking, we're getting to know each other. And then, we come back, like we're walking on the beach when we go up. And then when we take some stairs up and we walk back down the
road.
the city streets. And Laguna Beach has all kinds of crazy like mom and pop shops and like it's artistic
Yeah, it's really
and it's
nice.
really cool.
It was a perfect place to take me.
Yeah.
I like all that stuff.
So there's art galleries, there's like antique shops.
I was all excited.
Yeah. And I bought you
Yeah, he bought me a ring.
I bought you like an antique ring.
And not like
with
that
some
ring.
blue stone.
Yeah, I still wear it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And yeah, and then we come home for dinner, and
Yeah, I couldn't believe he bought me that. I was like, should he be buying me jewelry? Because I don't know what's happening here.
no, because it has nothing like, it's not like a wedding ring.
No, I know
It was like
that.
funkily shaped and like we. So yeah, this trip is going. Eventually the two families do meet.
Oh my God. Was it the next day?
Must have been the
It was
next
the
day.
next day, and then we were invited to dinner at your house. And obviously, I've got a traditional family, and they go, "Oh, Kamalji, we're going to that house. You have to put a suit on, flipping heck." So I have to do suit Sunday and get all tarted up. And that felt so awkward. And Baldev, my mom, was like, "Hey, let me take a picture before you go." And I'm like, "Why? We don't even know if anything's gonna happen. This is so awkward." I still have those pictures. I look so awkward in them. So anyway, we get to his house, and his whole family's there. I've never met them at this point, have I?
No.
I've never met them. Your mum's never ever seen a picture of me or your dad. I think she opens the door. She gives me a giant hug.
Wait. Hold on. I drive you there, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm driving you to the house, and I go, listen. And I realize
He
Komalji's
gives
a little bit
me-
tense. And I go, listen.
Yeah, I was freaking out.
I was like, you're into music. Therefore, like
They like you already.
I was like, my dad likes you. You've checked him off. I was like,
Your mum tells me you cook pretty well.
and I was like,
That's checked off.
Well, it wasn't just cooking. I was like, you're, like you're from England, you're Western, like you get to know, like she had seen your pictures, and I was like, she's already gonna love you, right? She's pretty cool. She's like, whatever Jaswinder wants is good for me, and I was like,
Aw.
checked off, right? I was like, my grandfather, like you're sick, and you're a female. Like, therefore, you've checked off his list. I was like, so there's no way that anybody in my family can't like you. So I think that made her feel a little bit better, but she was still nervous as hell.
I was so nervous.
Um,
And you did warn me that they might go like, when shall we do the wedding?
yeah. So my parents have cooked, or my mother has cooked dinner, and
It was all
we're about to-
formal in the whole formal dining room.
Yeah,
that
in
now
the
I know
formal
what
dining
it is.
room, which we never use.
Ever.
And yeah, so we're eating dinner, and my grandfather just like straight out just goes like, "So, are you guys getting married or not?"
And I did
So-
not know what to say to that.
And then Kamalji freezes.
I froze and just put my head down like this.
And my
This ball
dad,
is fantastic.
kind of has a UN diplomat quality about him, and he'll like. So he kind of tensed the tension in the room, felt the tension in the room. So he just goes, "Yeah, we're gonna get to all that. Let's just eat and relax." And then my grandfather goes, "Yeah, but are they gonna get married or not?"
Everyone's here. You might as well do it.
Right.
And I did not know what to think at this point because I wasn't sure yet.
Yeah. So
Even after all of
nothing
this.
was really decided at that dinner. But it was all fine. The two families met, they talked, they were all cool. So then, I've got a few more days with Kamaljit, and I just started taking her to places and like to meet. We went to the Getty Center one day. We went.
You took me to the Walt Disney Concert Hall with
Yeah,
Mel.
we-
Oh my God, I love that so much.
Yeah, I think that-
And your friends lived up the road.
Yeah.
Sujay and Margarita, thanks for getting us married.
Yeah. So we like one night I took him to introduce her to my friends Suja and Margarita. And they lived right up the street from the Walt Disney
The Walt
Concert
Disney
Hall. So
Concert
like
Hall.
I took
In
I
a
took her to
crazy
see
cool
Dudamel.
apartment.
And then they have an awesome loft up there. And I took after the Walt Disney concert, and I think we kind of had some connection at the concert
Yeah, because I
because the
love that.
music was pretty emotional and like we were into it. And so we went to Suja and Margarita's house, and then they drove us. I think we went to get like tacos or something. I don't remember
Something
what.
like that. And I was asking Margarita,
Yeah,
should
so-
I get married to Jazz?
yeah, so
Why should I get married to him?
So Komaji just straight out goes like, why should I marry Jazz? And then Sujay,
I didn't know them
being
at
the
this
amazing
point. Yeah.
friend, yeah. So she doesn't know that like this guy,
They're both jokers.
that they're both jokers, but
And
he just
amazingly
goes,
honest.
You shouldn't. He's an idiot, and like the dumbest person I know, and then some like really expletives that we shouldn't repeat here.
We should.
And Margarita's going like, Sujay, she thinks like
You're being serious.
I am being serious. She should not marry this guy. Like that's the worst decision she can make in her life. And he just keeps going on. And then finally, Margarita speaks up, who we call Manju, by the way. Manju speaks up and she gives, like, I think, a 13-minute monologue on why I'm the greatest guy on the planet.
It was
I
very
think,
heartfelt and intense, and she made that on the spot, and it was like
yeah.
amazing.
And I think that helped seal the deal.
I think it did.
So then we have a couple more days, and my dad has
Not many, yeah.
And my dad has a house. So then I also introduced you to my work friends like Greg, Melanie, Cam,
Yeah.
and they all kind of gave their approval too. Yeah, like they were telling me like, she's out of your league, bro. Like, seal the deal as soon as you can.
Didn't they say that on the table?
Yeah, I think they did.
Isn't that when Mel said no game? Or was that a different time?
It might have been that time. She's like, Jazz has like the no game, which means like he doesn't really have any game, but that's his game, and that like he can just like be in your friend zone and then infiltrate from there.
He certainly did.
And yeah, so we did that, and I think I took her to Salt Creek Beach, right next to Ritz-Carlton.
No.
Yeah, and then
No, wait. So then after all this is going on, and I'm still umming and ahhing, and then I'm like
side.
umming and ahhing, going, "Oh, mum and dad, I don't know. I'm being all flappy about this. I don't know," because I'm usually quite decisive, and I was just like, didn't trust myself. And then I was like, "But we're here for a reason, right? Isn't this what everyone keeps telling me? And all these things are happening, and I just don't know." So then there kept being discussions every morning over breakfast with mum and mummy and mum and dad. And then I kept mulling it over, and then I was like,
Didn't Bele Uncle also talk to you and kind of like,
well, I was asking him, what's so good about him? Am I going to be able to do music here? Because they also said that they ran their music school and they did this other music and that music. So I was like, oh, there's lots of music here. And they are pretty cool. And their parents are really nice. And oh my God, this is America. I just went to the beach like every single day. Wouldn't I be a bit stupid to not get married here? He's a really nice guy as well. So this kept going through my brain.
how the place has more importance than me at this point in the story.
Look, man, it all goes together. So then that kept, and then I think one morning I was just like, yeah, I remember we just stirred it in Mommy's kitchen. And I was like, oh, it would be all right, wouldn't it, if we moved here? It's not too far. I mean, we'd always talk on the phone to my mum and dad, like thinking it over. This was the day of going to Salt Creek.
Yeah.
That's what was going in my head.
So yeah, I take her to the Salt Creek Beach, which is like one of the most beautiful beaches here. And like the Ritz-Carlton overlooks it. And like, I kind of just said like, I don't know how I worded it, because to this day, technically I haven't proposed.
You never have. But we don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't do that kind of thing. That's not our culture.
Well, it's not our culture. It's just not us either.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of just said like, so I think the roka ceremony had been popped up, like that we should do a roka ceremony before they leave.
That's how it came up. Yeah, you were like, oh, if we're going to do the ceremony, we're going to do it in Mexico.
And I said, do you want to do it?
If we don't want to do the roka ceremony, then we won't go to Mexico. So I was like, yeah, I think that's how it came up.
Yeah, and I also said like, if you want to say no to me, right? Like
that's fine too.
I said you can blame it on me. Like to your family.
You're so sweet.
And like, you can just say that like I did something wrong or whatever
it's just not right.
I was just like, you can blame me, so that you don't need to take heat again from your family. And then I said, yeah, so like, do you want to go to Mexico and do this roca ceremony? So by the way, Mexico, my parents have a house that sits on top of the ocean, and it's massive, and it's got like the most amazing view.
They put their heart and soul into that house.
It's like wonderful. So she said yes at like, even though it's not a proposal.
It wasn't a proposal. I just said to go to Mexico. Really.
Yeah. So then, yeah, we all went.
Yeah.
We went to.
It was crazy. I can't believe I agreed.
We went to Mexico, and we went
we went
bodyboarding. Like
I had never been to like into the sea and did any sea type activities.
Yeah, so we had like boogie boards at my parents' house, and we just went down to the beach and we did that for a couple hours.
Oh yeah, wait, we met Kulvinder. We didn't tell him about Kulvinder.
Oh well, he's like my brother, of course. Like, yeah, anyway, we met him first.
He was taking the mickey out of you because he was like, "Why are you going into the water and having a fun time just because Kamalji's here?" So
yeah. I usually don't go into the water, but like I had to do something.
It was funny.
So yeah, we went boogie boarding, and then we
had lunch. And then
We did the roka,
a
like,
little bit of Kirtan, and then roka.
yeah.
Here, have a sweet in your mouth. It's done.
Yeah, and then like I think the day before they had to fly out, like somebody said,
No, yeah.
yeah,
So
somebody said you should do a court marriage so
think
that
Dad
it'll speed
said.
up the immigration. So then we did it.
No, wait.
We all
We went the next day. I think we went to Universal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we went to Universal, and then Gulvinder was working, and bless him, he was calling all these.
Yeah, I think it
court
happened at
houses.
Universal that they said you should get court marriage for immigration.
And we were eating lunch, and
Yeah.
then by that,
So
the
I was
end
just
of-
like, I told my brother to arrange it all, and he did everything.
No, everything.
Like he found the courthouse, he set up the appointment, he did like the license
all,
paperwork,
yeah.
like, and he was calling us every 2 minutes, like, give me her passport number, like, give me her birth date, give me
Yeah.
her like parents' birth, the place of birth, like just, and then the next morning
I didn't
we
quite
did
believe it was going to happen.
we did a court marriage, and like Baldev uncle was there, Suji and Margarita was there, and my parents and her parents, and that was supposed to be to speed up the immigration, and we got married.
And I left.
And she left about an hour later. Like as soon as it was done, we ate lunch, and then they had to drive to the airport.
Yeah, we had to catch a flight.
And like that's the story. Like there was, again, because it's LA, just like England, there was a lot of driving, and we were listening to a lot of music, and I was, like in England, it was kind of her turf, so she was
showing you what I
she was being the DJ in the car, and like in this trip, I was being the DJ in the car.
Yeah.
And she'd heard Ustaji's tabla, but I had put on a particular track, like one of which has been released now in a CD, but and I was lucky enough to be there when he recorded it in the room, and I played some of that for her. Like maybe we should play that for the audience. And this
We
is
should,
like,
man.
yeah, this is how like
If
we
Shivranjani
connected.
blew your mind, then this recording blew my mind.
Yeah, so let's play some of that right now. And we're back. So like that is my Ustad. Like I'm so blessed to have Ustadji in my life. He's not just like my Ustad. He's my dad's younger brother, and I treat him like a father, and he's been here in like every decision of my life, right? Like so when we had kids, like with Kamaljeet, he was. I showed him a
Called
picture.
it with us, man. He called it.
Yeah, he kind of gave the initial word, and then finally when I showed him the picture after the roka had been done, like he just started crying. And
Can't believe he played.
he
it
said,
at
"You look
our
like
wedding."
Kajol."
That's so. She's really beautiful. That's quite a compliment.
And we, so you flew home that day, and we eventually arranged the marriage, like
Yeah, then we.
Babaji Upaisa by Minder Singh Ji.
It was just a few months later. It wasn't very long
arranged
time.
everything and blessed our wedding, and we're like that's the foundation of our, like it's a serendipitous story, and everything we've ever done is emanates from that story, right? Like the music we make, you can see its roots in that story.
Yeah, we always.
All the projects we do, it all comes from that. So like I think we're gonna do a lot of cool stuff on this podcast radio show.
Yeah. Now you know about us. We don't have to tell you again.
Yeah, so now you know who we are and where we come from. And I think that's the end.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Let's just do our little social media plugs. Right? You can find us on youtube.com/absolutefocus. Please subscribe.
Yes.
Instagram at absolute_focus. All right, we had to stick that underscore in there.
Was it abs_?
And then Twitter is absfocus.
That's the one.
And Facebook is Absolute Focus Productions. I know they're all a little different, but come on, guys, just look us up.
Look, man.
And then we really need your support. This at patreon.com/absolutefocus. Give us your support. There's lots of perks and prizes out there. So whatever you guys can do, you'll help support our music, support this show.
Definitely.
And we hope we can keep doing this for you.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
Cool, guys. Thanks.
Next time. See
Bye.
ya. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button.